Hey there. So if you think SEO is dead, well, the 2010 version sure is. Google search traffic is still very, very big, but 59% of search queries do end without anyone clicking anything. Now, this isn't a how-to SEO video. This is really more informative for you as a business owner to understand that Google is still the top search engine, but fewer referrals means you can't put all your eggs in that one organic basket any longer. So if you're tired of chasing keywords, which you shouldn't be doing, at least in the last 15 years, that really aren't converting, I'm going to share with you 3 smarter pieces to invest your marketing budget. These are activities, or these are specific frameworks that you should incorporate. And it's going to start with a little video strategy on YouTube. Let's get into it. As I said, I do not want to make this a channel all about SEO, but for so many of you who are brand new, starting up a business, maybe you've been in business for a few years, and you just don't want to invest in Meta, which don't blame you, or you don't want to spend money on LinkedIn ads. I've done that. I've experienced it. It's very expensive, and it takes a different strategy and a different approach. So what you're really left with still is organic, and organic reach on many platforms, but in particular, what I'm referring to here is Google, and that's really changed a lot. I'm going to have another video where I'm going to give you more of an update. Again, just speaking as founder to founder, what I really want you to understand is the fact that if you're still banking on organic search as your primary source of traffic coming to your website, then you really are going to be missing out. And so this is why this video is going to be really important, because if you don't understand, as I mentioned in my intro, 59% of Google searches do end without a click. So my main point, number one, is that I really want to focus in on is investing in YouTube as your next organic channel. I have done that. I have been in the digital marketing space for 21 years now, and I'm happy to say that while search engine optimization is still a thing, it is absolutely nowhere near what it used to be 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so we have to approach organic in a much different kind of a way. Google properties like this one, YouTube, is definitely a big one. And it's still the second most used search engine. People are coming to this platform to search for help, resources in a different sort of kind of a way than you would in your web search, of course. So if you're camera shy, maybe hire a presenter who can help you articulate whatever that point is. However, I will say this, no one, just like in sales, no one can sell better than you as the business owner. Nobody can present a topic, a point of view, or anything, especially with regards to your brand or your service, better than you can. So do understand that. Don't have this attitude where no one will listen to me. There are people that will listen to you and pay attention to what it is you have to say. So what you have to do is just find a few minutes of time and just speak to that piece, whatever that is. Just start somewhere. What you really need to do, the same thing with your blog or your website, is having a smart content strategy. You need to make sure that your content is not just the content that lives on your website that is text, but your video content is strategically thought through. You want to align those video topics to your ideal customer profile. What are their pain points? What are their struggles? Again, I like to, especially if you're talking from B2B, I like to talk to the sales team of my clients to understand what typical sales questions are you getting asked. Let's kind of pepper those into maybe the first few videos. Make sure you take those videos and embed them on your website. So if you still have a blog or a resource center or something like that in your website, take that 1 or 2 or 3 minute video and just pop it right in And especially if it's linked to your YouTube, that's all the better. I prefer that than using Wistia or some of the other video platforms there are. I think YouTube, because as I'm telling you, when we're talking about organic search, this is really going to be a big driver. So I would definitely embed the YouTube video there, and then you can also capture more eyeballs to your video, but also on your website. Now, you want to leverage spaces where your audience already is. And I've mentioned this in past other videos, but you really need to learn about where they are. For example, let's just use e-commerce as an example. If you list your products over on Amazon, Etsy, those are two separate platforms entirely. And you optimize those descriptions, and you will get more user-generated content, so in the form of commenting or ratings, etc., that will also help. So there's many different places and spaces that you can and should be where you're leveraging all these platforms and disseminating your content onto those platforms. That's going to benefit you from a search AI perspective, ultimately. If you're a service provider and you also educate your clients, you can leverage other platforms like Maven. There's WhatsApp groups. Reddit for sure is another really great space to be, mostly if a lot of your potential customers are there asking questions that you can easily answer. You need to really build and nurture your brand with zero-click content. So what does that mean? Brand marketing, it's not new. But publishing standalone value without any kind of an immediate sales pitch is way more powerful than ever. Now, of course, you know this. How often are you on this platform or TikTok or Blue Sky or some other platform where you're following a particular brand or influencer and you're listening to the tips or best practices or things that they're sharing that you're taking away, but they're not selling anything. So 80% should be that, 20% selling. It's the whole 80-20 thing. Yes, it still does work, but you've got to make sure that you're providing that level of value. There could be many places you can be, but if you're just getting started, you should start with one platform. Pick one platform, whether it's this one or whether it is Instagram or LinkedIn, but choose one and post in a consistent manner. So I post to my YouTube channel on Mondays and Thursdays. My podcast goes out every Friday. So I've got a regular schedule that I keep to. The place where it fails for most business owners that are trying to get started is when they just drop the ball after 3 or 4 weeks, and then they pick it back up 6 months later. So you've really lost that momentum that you were starting to build. And that's really where you got to keep your focus. You've got to build your brand and on a consistent schedule. If all you can do is one platform with one piece of content a week, that still will pay dividends many months and weeks later. Now we can come to the action steps and specific recommendations that I want to make to you. Number one, I want you to audit and prioritize the channels. As I said, really think through who your audience is, really where you want that content to be. Map your current traffic sources. Identify 2 potential channels, whether it's YouTube and some other platform. Focus in on those and then start thinking about your content plan. That's number 2, is where you're going to develop a strategic content plan. You might have to do a little bit of homework by researching maybe people that are in the same space you are. What are they talking about? What can you talk about, whether it's written or in a video format? What can you talk about that's different, unique, adds other specific value, and that you can easily publish out? I want you to define your ideal customer profile and really identify the top 3 questions or challenges that you know they have and that you can easily answer. And this is not selling, but this is really answering their specific pain point in the best way you can possibly do that. Do not be afraid of giving your stuff away and giving all of your information away. It's important that you're there to be useful and helpful. That also ties way back into, sort of an SEO concept of having really valuable, great content. Same thing. You just need to be helpful, useful, unique, and therefore that content will serve up, whether you're in ChatGPT or Perplexity searching, or Google or Bing or any platform searching for something that it is that your business does or does well. You'll have a much easier time of serving up your brand will be found, because you're there talking about ways that you can help that specific client. Number 3, implement a 0-click brand touch point. I want you to draft 4 to 6 value nuggets. These are specifically posts for your specific platform, whether it's Instagram or TikTok. Again, you got to really study to see what's there, what's working. Should it include music? Should it include a specific agenda? There is not one recipe that's one that you should adhere to. Your own is going to be what's going to work the best. Make sure that you schedule these on a weekly distribution. You want to track the engagement. How many people are actually watching it? How many people are sharing it with others? How many people are commenting? How many people are actually then going from there, wherever that platform is, to your website? And then you can, through Google Search Console or other analytics tools, really kind of learn better about who's searching for your brand and what pages are actually coming up within your website. Hopefully there's a call to action or a form that they can fill out to get in touch with you. Now I'm going to get into my recommendation. I want you to pick one platform. Just think through one platform right now. Could be that you want to focus text and you want to get into Google results. It's still not impossible. There's still a way that you can serve up those results, but just do understand that when you're ranking in AI overviews, when your brand is being listed, you may not necessarily get a click. But what might happen is, if your brand is shown up there as top 10 best law firms in the state of Colorado, you might then get a search for the name of your law firm in Google. So just understand that would be considered a 0-click, which is totally fine. But just do understand, if that's where you want to focus your efforts on, come up with a content strategy. If you decide it is YouTube, then again, you still need a content strategy in your videos. Then I want you to execute consistently. Just do this consistently for 90 days, whether it's one blog post or one video a week for 90 days. And you will see some really, really interesting results. I will also be sure to share my results here after I go through my initial 90 days of being consistent on this platform. Now, that's how you're going to expand your reach in 2025. Thanks for watching.